Hey, welcome back to the DSORENSON Terrain Review Part 2. Part 2. Timer started. I'm going to do Part 2 for the second time because I forgot to do something. And so it didn't even get recorded. So I have to do it again, which is fine because this might be faster now. Anyway, so, by the way, this is what I discovered. He's got an extra line in here. No, that's not the extra line. He's got this stupid line here. I don't know why. It's a P line. I don't know why he has it in there. So I'm going to get rid of it. Delete it. Boop. And here's his terrain. So you're talking about if I'm repeating something from part one, forgive me. I forgot what I was talking about then. So let's talk about how he even started this thing. Sort of review. This is a terrain perimeter, right? So how's the terrain perimeter defined right here? Terrain specifications. Let's talk about the different how you can set this thing up. Pad elevation. What does this mean right here? This means that his house, when he does it in plan, when he draws a house in plan, the finished floor is at 0, right? You draw a house and the finished floor is at 0, right? Now, what does this mean right here? This means that house is 11 feet above the contour. Is 11 feet above the 0 contour of this piece of property. It means the house is 11 feet above the 0 elevation of this piece of property. So where's 11 feet of where's 11 foot? What contour line is 11 foot? I don't know. You can't label it. You can't label. These are his contour lines, right? The red are the active ones. This actually has a terrain elevation assigned to it. The blue ones are the ones that I stripped down to a polyline. I left them as contour lines, but they don't have any data that defines the terrain. That's what that's all about. So we need to find out where's 0 elevation. Well, how do you do that? Well, you got to show the contours. You got to show the contours. Now, these lines right here, these active lines, they are on line terrain elevation data. Terrain elevation data. When you draw that thing, I think it automatically goes on this terrain elevation data layer. Let's look at those layers. Terrain elevation data. When you create a topo line, that's where it goes. Now I copied this and put no data on it. So what I did is when I took one of his contour lines, stripped out the information and made it a polyline, I put it on here so I could keep it, but I could give it a different color and I can control it. But here are the primary contours. He doesn't even have those shown. Actually, he has the secondary contours shown, but he doesn't have the primary shown, does he? Now there is data on the primary contour, but there's no data on the secondary contour. Why isn't there any data on the secondary contour? Because I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you in a minute. So there's no data on the secondary contour, but let's get the primary contours going, okay? Let's turn that on. Let's get it and let's make it 300 line weight of 300, okay? So now we're going to see the primary contours, aren't we? There they are. That's a lot of them, isn't it? And now if you zoom in real close, you can see that there's 16, 17, 18, 19. That's the feet. That's how high above sea level it is. 10, 11, 12. You can barely read that from a distance, can you? So let's change that. So I can zoom out a little bit. I can see what the contours are. How do I do that? Well, what controls the size? What controls the size of that text? It's whatever layer the contour line is on. So if I come over here to primary contours, default text size. Default text size is too small. I think it's too small. Plot plan. This is the way I do it. I'm going to create its own. I'm going to change the size of the text. And how do I do that? I go define. I don't know what size these things are. I don't know what size text those are just by looking at this. So this is what I do. I copy this for the fun of it, and I name it 30 CB. What does that mean to me? That means the text is 30 inches high, and I'm using cheap blueprint. That's all it means. Okay. So there I am, using cheap blueprint. Character height is 0.5 feet. I do it in inches. So I have to come down here, change the number style from decimal feet to fractional inches. So now I'm talking in inches. So that happens to be 6 inches. But remember, I named it 30 CB. 30 CB, 30 means 30 inches. Change that to 30 inches. That's 30 inches. Okay. Oh, but I'm working in feet, so now I'm gonna just change this back to decimal feet. Now that I know it, yeah, 2.5 feet. That makes sense. So let's take a look at this. Oh, okay, I gotta press OK. Ah, see? Now the text is I can read that text much easier. I can read that text much easier. And if I want, I can come over here to this text right here, and I can read a fine text, and I'll say copy, and this is 30 CB, and I'm a copy to remember. Now I'm going to change it to 30 CB red. So that means it's 30 inches tall, it's using Chief Blueprint, and it's red. It is not controlled by the layer. The color is not controlled by the layer. The color is red, period. The color is red, period. Okay, come over here. Text color, not by layer. I'm going to make it red. So no matter where it is, it's going to be always red. Now I can change it back to 30 CB, but I'm going to make it 30 CB red. So I got 30 CB and 30 CB red. So 30 CB red, okay. There. Now you can see all the contour lines are 30 CB red. In fact, what am I gonna do? Oh, that's fine. 30. Okay, so 30 CB red. And so you get, but I have these are all primary contours. Why aren't they set? Why don't I have secondary contours? Because he hadn't defined them. So how do you do that? You come over to here and you select this thing right here and go to contours. Now notice he has this every 1 foot. Every 1 foot of grade elevation, he's using it. 1 foot of grade elevation. And he's having every primary contour at 1 foot. I mean, every contour is a primary. I'm going to change that every primary contour. Every fifth contour is a primary. Every fifth contour is a primary. That's all I'm doing. And I'm going to label primary and I'm going to label secondary. Maybe I don't want to label secondary later, but I'm going to label, for right now, I'm going to label it just to show you what's going on. And highlight negative elevations is if you have a negative elevation, it's instead of red, it's going to be, well, since I defined the contours as a certain color, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. And I'm using decimal feet, not inches. Decimal feet, not inches. My contours are going to be in feet, not inches. That makes sense, right? So let's see what happens. There you go. You see what just happened? I got a heavy dark green line here. That's a primary. And then I got, you see that? Light green, light green, light green, light green, now dark green. So those are the secondaries. Those are the secondaries. But I can barely read the secondary contour labels, can I? They're too small. Or the primary number. Oh, yeah, you can see the primary numbers up here. Can you relocate those numbers? I don't think so. I think they're just, they decide to go where they want to go. I don't think you can mess them around. I don't think you can move those. They're just where they are. So now let's go back to secondary contours and let's change this default text size. I don't know what that means. So this time I'm going to change it to 30 CB. Not 30 CB red, I'm going to change it to 30 CB. So now what's going to happen is the primary contour labels are going to be 30 inches tall, and they're going to follow the color of the layer, which is light green. There they are. See? 12, 13, 14, 16, but 15. These are always going to be red. They don't follow the layer. So now if I come back over here to, and I can change the color of this, okay? You know that, terrain secondary contours. And of course, if you don't want to see the secondary contour, which is sort of silly, I mean, it's too much information on most contours, just turn off the labels secondary contours. And now you don't see the labels for the secondary contours, but you can figure this out. And this dark green here is a 5 foot, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's 10 foot. So it's kind of cool. Now what I'm doing is I'm starting to be able to read this thing, read the contour. In fact, I'm going to go take a step further, and I'm going to get rid of these contour lines, which are his input lines, because I really don't need them. I mean, see how much cleaner that is now? It's a lot cleaner, isn't it? In fact, what I think I'd like to do is I'd like to change my TR terrain primary contours. I like to see these. I might want to see these red just to kind of make them pop a little bit. Bump over here. In fact, because my contour lines are red, now I'm going to make my numbers blue. Define. Timer up. I'm going to define the 30 CB red. Can I do that? Primary contour. Oh, I changed that to, okay, change that to red. My primary contours are red, but now I want my numbers to be blue. 30 CB red, copy. 30 CB red, no, I want it to 30 CB blue, BLU. So I know it's always going to be blue. Okay, change this to blue. Okay, 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 okay. There you go. So the red contour lines and blue numbers. But maybe I don't like that. Let me try one more time. I'm going to do something else. Primary contours. I'm going to make them, the contour lines themselves blue. But I'm going to make the text red. Maybe it's all about trying to make this there. Is that easier to read? 10, 15. I kind of like that better. Okay, I'm done with part 2. I hope this one worked this time. I think it did. Into part 2. This is pretty good stuff. It's a good review for me. I see how quick I can get this. End of part 2.